Aston Martin is the quintessentially British sports car maker that has a rich history in creating some of the world's most desirable and luxurious models. The Vantage is the current range's most sports-orientated model, and since its introduction in 2005, it's been continually refined and improved thanks to Aston's ongoing commitment in GT endurance racing. So if you're into your sports cars, this is the Aston for you. Prestige is important if you want to appeal to the hearts and minds of customers at this price point, but so too are looks, and the Vantage is one of the most achingly, effortlessly pretty sports cars. If anybody is to ask you what it means for a car to have beautiful proportions, just tell them to look at this. I know looks are supposed to be subjective and everything, but you've got to be off your rocker if you don't think that this is one of the finest pieces of automotive sculpture. An important facet of Aston Martin design is something known as dynamic tension, and that basically means that even when the car is static, the shape of the car conveys movement. And in the Vantage, that tension is evident in almost every surface, but it's most notable in this side straight that runs all the way through the doors, as well as being on the bonnet, beneath which beats a 420 brake horsepower, 4.7 litre V8 that's been hand-built and final inspected by a bloke called Gordon. The front splitter and ducktail rear spoiler are both shared with the Vantage S, and they're derived straight from the GT races, and it helps give this car a really purposeful stance. Inside echoes the clean lines and craftsmanship of the exterior. Aston Martin is a company that makes a virtue of the details, and this coloured stitching that describes the surfacing of the cabin is their equivalent of the Chantel bra strap or the Louboutin heel. Even the speedo and tachometer are works of art, but they are a bit difficult to read. The basics are pretty good though. The driving position is sat to nice and low, there's plenty of storage in the centre console, the glove box and behind the rear seats. And the boot is twice the size of a Porsche 911. Technophiles should note that this car is not on the apex of innovation. To my right is a very outdated fly-off handbrake. The optional sat-nav is slow-witted and all the controls are poorly located right in front of the gear stick. Bluetooth is optional, and instead of having anything cool like Wi-Fi to play with, you get a pen. The noise is an overwhelming plus in the V8 Vantage. This isn't a silky smooth, long-legged V12. This V8's got bark, and it's matched with a chassis that just loves to be hustled. But this unit doesn't have to be brash all the time. In fact, under 4,000 RPM, it's pretty quiet and quite stealthy. It's probably worth noting that all the controls do have a very weighty, physical, meaty feel to them, from the steering to the clutch and the gear change. And if you're doing a lot of town driving, this firm suspension is probably going to make it quite tiring. But when you're getting up to crossing continent speeds, the trade-off is a level of handling precision that Aston Martin owners probably didn't even think was possible 10 years ago. If you want a transmission that's slightly more easygoing, then you can spec the 7-speed automated manual gearbox known as Power Shift 2. Though, to be honest, there's something really satisfying about nailing the perfect red line upshift in a manual gearbox, especially when it's attached to a car like this. The Aston Martin V8 Vantage holds the duality, both as a very competent and compact sports car, as well as being a laid-back grand tourer. Compared to its rivals, it may not be as easy to live with on the day-to-day or be as cheap to run, but it's got a driving manner that really gets under your skin, as well as having an engine note that could make you sign a cheque there and then. And with that in mind, I think I'm going to go and count my pennies.